Thank you very much, Mr. De Mistura, for answering our request for an interview. Today you have presented a very ambitious plan given the circumstances and the forces at play in Syria. How do you expect those, especially armed groups, whose allegiances are mostly to foreign powers and foreign groups as well in different parts of the world, how do you expect them to react to that, and will there be any way of having influence over them?
You see, I've been meeting those armed groups, at least those who are not terrorists, which means not al-Nusra and Daesh. But all the others I have had the opportunity of meeting, because over the last 2 months, the idea was to meet every Syrian who is involved in Syria, not foreigners. Then we met the regional players, of course. And I must say, I have noticed that many of them are actually, first of all, purely Syrian, and do realize that there is no military solution.
But not the leaders in this case.
Well, they do realize that there is no military solution. Trust me, I've been talking to them.
All right.
And therefore, there is a need for some type of political formula. If that is true, they will be most likely part of this discussion, because it's not with a gun that this will be solved. It will be solved through a dialogue.
Have you been talking to the countries who are financing directly or indirectly these groups?
I've been talking to every country in the region and beyond, because, as you know, this conflict is unusually filled with interest from many countries. And I've been talking to every country in the region, and I am detecting the same message, trust me. The message is very clear. There is no military solution. There is now time to try hard to push for a political one. And there is a roadmap. It's called the Geneva Communique. It was even approved by the Security Council, and Russia was part of it.
Geneva Communique, but different interpretation to it.
There is some ambiguity about particularly one part, as you know, the transitional governing body, and on other areas. That's why we need these working groups.
And how about the P5? Did you get any encouragement from them today, any support to your plan? You were expecting them to at least voice their support.
I was touched and impressed by the fact, and the Secretary General said it publicly at the stakeout, how unanimous the support was from the P5s and beyond, all the 15 members of the Security Council. They're obviously feeling like you are feeling, we are feeling, that enough is enough.
Yeah, but I mean, these are these mysterious forces which are behind ISIS and Nusra. They are, as have portrayed or shown, that they are formidable forces. They are not small ones. They now control large, vast spaces of Syria and Iraq, and they will be, of course, the spoilers to any plan. How do you expect the international community to react to their spoiling of the plan?
You see, that's exactly the reason why we need a cohesive plan. There has been now a renewed feeling of urgency. The urgency is due to the fact that Syrians say, halas, kefaya, there's been too much suffering, but there is also a feeling in the region and in the country about the fact that there is now an urgency of addressing terrorism. But how do you do that? By having a political solution that includes all Syrians and actually brings a new type of message to the Syrian people. Then you will see it will be very difficult for Daesh and the terrorists to move forward. But if we are seeing a divided Syria and a constant fighting as we are seeing at the moment, they will take advantage.
Is Israel on board? Israel is hosting and helping, hospitalizing a lot of al-Nusra fighters and other groups. Will they be on board in this solution, you reckon? Have you been in touch with them?
No, I have not, because I'm talking about the regional countries who are actually, in one way or the other, involved or interested at the moment directly in what's happening in Syria.
But Israel is involved in that, and they show that on television, that al-Nusra roams freely in the separation zone and Dof area. And 1,000, at least 600 of them have been hospitalized inside Israel. If you ignore them, and today they had a strike inside the separation zone. If they are ignored or Do you think that they cannot spoil the any agreement?
At the moment, I've not been discussing with them. Trust me, we have been having so many of the discussions. When you look at it, the region, I've been calculating, you know how many? Make a guess. 18 different interlocutors. I've been having.
Members,
yes. So, I mean, there is quite a lot to be discussed before reaching that point.
Do you differentiate between armed groups and non-armed groups? There are a lot of Syrian oppositions who are not armed, like Haytham Manna, for example, who was skeptical about talking to leaders coming from Tunisia and others coming from Chechnya, whereas those who did not opt for weapons have never been consulted sufficiently.
You see, I have a lot of trust, having met now more than 216 different Syrian, I repeat, Syrian representatives, both from the opposition and from the government, or from the opposition based in Damascus, which some say are pro-government. And I've got the feeling that there is many things that keep them together. One is unity of the country. The Syrian people, and you know it, are very proud. Their dignity. Second, national unity and sovereignty, territorial integrity, respect of the minorities, and, frankly, a political solution that will not go back to where we were before, because 5 years of conflict cannot be ignored, but there will be some type of new approach. And the new approach is in the Geneva Communiqué. I'm also convinced, from what I heard so far, that no one of the Syrians want foreigners in their own country. Again, because they are proud. So all foreigners, wherever they are and whoever they are, should be leaving the country once we have found a political solution.
And who will guarantee that they will leave? Who will see that they will leave the country? Did you consult, for example, with Jordan and Turkey and Lebanon to a certain extent? Because Turkey, of course, is accused of being a hotbed for transshipment of foreign fighters into Syria. The same thing happens in Jordan, where they have camps for training.
You see, that's what you are stating. What I can tell you is that when there will be a political solution and a formula, you will see that the Syrians themselves will ask every foreigner to leave and leave them back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. De Mistura.
Thank you.
Thanks for your interview. Take care.
Thank you.